Hey everybody, just wanted to touch base with you again a little bit, make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to our next speech, which is the analysis speech or the cultural awareness speech, in which you are going to take a cultural event, a festival, some sort of ceremony, um, some sort of tradition, and we're going to look at that and you are going to try to find the cultural clues in it, if you will, or what does this say about the culture? What does this say about the people that celebrate that? So that is your next speech. We've been working on that. Most of you, many of you have already turned in the topic proposal, and I've given you some comments and some direction on that. Some things to make sure that we're kind of all on the same page about. And again, these are things that we talk about in class or practice or whatever, but just to kind of start giving you some direction as you start pulling this together. The first big thing that you'll notice is that there is no visual aid for this speech. Um, so I took that off because I know that had we been together, we could have practiced that and we could have, used it and it pulled up on the board and it'd be good, right? But since you're going to have to deliver these virtually now, you will not have that option. And so I went ahead and took that off. That just makes it a little bit easier. That's one less thing we have to worry about. After we do this speech, we're going to then practice then on how to do a presentation online with the screen sharing and to be able to do that. And we'll practice that before we give speech number 4. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that we just made one less thing that we had to worry about this time. We'll focus on it for speech number 4. Some things that I really want you to be thinking about and doing as you are pulling your speech together, practicing and preparing it. Number one, and this, we've talked about many of these things before, you need to make sure that you are citing your sources. I know last time, there were many of you that did that. According to this, according to the website, or so-and-so says in this article. But we want to really make sure that you are doing that. So as you talk about these events, as you talk about the analysis and the cultures and the clues that you pull from that, you really need to make sure that you're showing where that information comes from. That is critical because that allows the audience to really say, hey, I know why I believe in what you're saying, right? So really focus and work on that. Another thing that I want you to really think about is the big component. Obviously you're going to have to describe the festival and explain it, and you talk about its traditions. You're going to talk about what was going on and how they do things. I know that part, and that's probably a significant total portion of the speech. But one of the things that has to be very clear, either in its own section or continuously as you describe this festival, you need to always come back to that central question. What does this say about the community, the society, the people that do this? You need to keep coming back to that. What does it say about them? Remember, we talked about the fall festival, use that as an example. And this idea that, okay, yeah, it's all about having the good time. It's all about the tradition. It's all about, celebrating this thing, right? But it also shows like the giving spirit, and it shows about, our commitment to others and the community and whatever. And so you want to keep coming back to that because that is the most important part of the speech. I'm not going to say it's all of the speech or the majority of it because I don't think that would be right. But it definitely has to be there. It definitely has to be clearly stated. Okay? So make sure you're doing that. Also, when you are thinking about this, when you're thinking about how to put this speech together, look for places where you can tie your festival or what they do or their traditions to things that your audience might already be familiar with. For instance, if your festival revolves around another holiday, like Christmas, what does this Christmas celebration look like that's different from our Christmas celebration or the Christmas celebration that you might be used to already? Now, it's nice to have that, here's a starting point, like, hey, look, you're familiar with this. This is how it's different. This is how it's the same, maybe this is how it's different. So it allows the audience to kind of have a starting point, something that you can kind of build back and forth on. And I think that would be really important it'd be important to use because it really helps your audience see things. If there's anything you can draw from to help your audience understand it, that would be much more beneficial. Okay. I know that as we give this presentation, it will be recorded. It is a little bit different. I know that some of the things are going to be obviously changed. We're going to work on that. Okay. But one of the big things that I definitely need to let you know now is that don't think that you can just script out your speech and read it. I know that some of you, and I made some comments to some of you before about, it looks like you just read it. You were constantly, looking at your cards or whatever. Well, if you're going to read your speech here, most of the time you're going to be like looking down anyway like this, right? And it's going to be painfully obvious if you're not looking at the camera. So we're going to talk a little bit more as we get closer about how to record yourself. We'll be doing some live sessions to where you give your speech and how you can really make that more to make it look a little better and to really show what you're able to do, right? So we'll get some more information in that. But definitely start thinking now about how can I really prepare myself to give this speech. Continue working on your speech. Continue pulling your pieces together. Check the due dates because those have been posted up on Classroom and I emailed them out to you so you know when everything is due for this speech and the next speech. And remember, they're very close. We're backing them up because we're losing some time. If there's anything you guys need, let me know so that we can provide that for you. Want to make sure that you have everything that you need in order to be really successful and to show us what you're really capable of doing. Good luck. Keep safe. Keep working on your speech.